Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, aliens alike. This is YouTube's chosen derp, Addy, and today I'm reviewing the documentary by Kevin Annett and Louie Lawless, among other people. And this documentary is called Unrepentant. It is a very harrowing account of the treatment and systematic torture and murder of the native populations of Canada, particularly by the Christian church there in Canada. And I wanted to first off share a quote from the Old Testament of the Bible. Give me a sec here and let me pull it up. Okay. Oh, I forgot my I have to get a USB hub because it disconnects. So when the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess and drives out before you the many nations, the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, 7 nations larger and stronger than you. And when the Lord your God has delivered them over to you, and you have defeated them, then you must destroy them totally. Make no treaty with them, and show them no mercy. Do not intermarry with them. Do not give your daughters to their sons, or take their daughters for your sons, for they will turn your children away from following me to serve other gods, and the Lord's anger will burn against you and quickly destroy you. This is what you are to do to them. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their idols in fire. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. And the documentary begins with these Bible verses. I found Mr. Annett through his interview, one of his interviews, and I've since listened or watched several of his interviews. And let me just put the link to the documentary if anybody wants to watch it. I'll put it in the live chat as well as the description, which I failed to do before this. But as soon as I am finished broadcasting, I will put that link in the description. The subtitles are in Italian, so if you don't speak English but you can read Italian, you can still watch it. And I would also encourage people to go and check out Kevin Annett's website as well, and his stuff, and I will put that stuff in the description box as well. But this documentary, it interviews many people who were students at these residential native schools and Indian schools, particularly throughout the 20th century, in the 1950s and 60s, but they also list accounts as early as 1946, just a year after the end of the Second World War. So, it's something that has been going on for a long time. And Kevin Annett makes the estimation of upwards of a million natives who have been systematically slaughtered, basically. And there are accounts of eyewitness accounts, that is, of women getting sterilized with X-rays. They put the lead on your front when you go and get an X-ray. So they would get these women, females and males, and just X-ray their pelvis for like 20 minutes to sterilize them, because they didn't want them to reproduce. If you heard that Bible verse that I just said. And there are accounts of even worse stuff. Like there was one where a nun raped a young boy who I guess impregnated the nun. The nun had the child and killed it, and then made the boy bury the child, which I found very strange and horrific for sure. But systematic child abuse. They would all get numbers, so they each got a number similar to the European Holocaust that most people are quite familiar with. And they interviewed one lady who her number was 54, and she said that your number would be put on all of your clothing, all of your school items as well. And if you mixed up numbers, you'd get in trouble, you'd get beaten and such. And it is, again, produced by Kevin Annett with this guy named Louie Lawless. So they do interview Kevin quite a bit, and he talks about how he lost pretty much everything in so far as his wife took the kids and took custody over the kids, and she testified against him in court, I think, as well. And he lost his job. He got defrocked, which basically means I believe it's only used in the context of Catholic churches, but I could be wrong. Basically, a minister loses their right to minister, to be a reverend. A defrocking, so he got defrocked, and he said it was basically just a kangaroo court. And they took all these testimonies and documents and sent them to Canadian authorities, UN authorities, and they heard nothing back, no response whatsoever. And that's kind of how it ends, with the conclusion that the only way to change this system and to hold at least some of these people accountable, because it is the church and the state in Canada that is responsible for these crimes. And so, they're not going to investigate themselves, right, and find themselves guilty. So it's up to the people at large en masse to do so. There's also another story relayed about how one of these people who did testify and speak out against the state and the church had their house ransacked like a few days later by Mounties, by the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Held them all at gunpoint, the RCMP did, and stole things out of their house. And firsthand accounts, eyewitness accounts of these natives who are now much older. They're silent generation, and even older. Some of these people that he interviewed, of really horrific things happening, electrocution and such. But the horrific nature of these crimes is very apparent. And what's even scarier, I think, is the ease to which they were covered up, and those people were silenced, such as Mr. Annett. So I do want to give a forewarning to people that this documentary is quite graphic in its descriptions of child abuse and torture and murder. So please be aware of that before you watch it, if you do plan on watching it. And, you know, rated M for mature. If this was a video game, or rated, you know, it's I don't know. I think maybe teenagers can handle it, but yeah, it's pretty dark stuff. So keep that in mind. But I think it's going to be an underground classic in years to come. I plan on reading Mr. Annett's book. He wrote a book called, well, the name escapes me right now. Check out the Reformation. And it's actually for free on his website as well. So again, I'll put that in the description if people want to download it, PDF format or ebook format as well. You can do that, or you can buy it on Amazon and get a paperback. I think it's like 20 bucks, which I definitely want to do at some point as well. So, you know, how do I rate this? I think this is going to be an underground classic in years to come. I think this is essential viewing for anybody who is interested in conspiracies, government corruption, political corruption, state and church corruption, history in general, right? Because this is a form of genocide, right? This is the Canadian genocide, the Canadian Holocaust. So, you know, this time period we're in with this pandemic, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine how much it'll change how history is taught in schools, but I do think this is going to be hopefully part of school curriculum at some point. At, you know, somewhere around the world, maybe not in Canada, because it's not like you learn much about your own country's wrongdoings and crimes against humanity as much as others. So highly recommend it. Go check it out. Again, we'll link all of those things in the description. This is Addy Reviews. Unrepentant is the name of the documentary by Kevin Annett. It's about the Canadian genocide and systematic murder, abuse, torture, rape, etc. of the natives of Canada. Stay frosty. All the best from the Midwest. Cheers to all. And until next time, folks.